Zobier was too far behind to challenge Keith and drove steadily to get through the long stage. His car was probably better suited to the conditions on this stage. The classic cars were back on familiar territory. Long, hard endurance stages were typical of what we would face during the East African Safari at the end of the year. Geoff Bell was once again back up to speed, setting the fastest time. However, he had lost so much time the previous day that he was using the stage as part of his testing for the end of the year. Aslam Khan continued to lead the class after getting through the stage unscathed. He enjoyed the challenging stage that better suited his car. Malcolm Destro was 4 minutes faster than Hardev Sira and was glad to get through the stage and cement second overall. Hardev Sira got through the stage in his Ford Mexico. Third would be good enough to extend his championship lead, and he was driving to finish. Dennis Mwenda was cruising. He had 22 minutes lead over Adnan Suhail and didn't need to damage his car on the long stage. Suhail struggled with an engine misfire that he traced to a faulty wire. He lost time to Dennis but also had a 30-minute cushion to the Haraka Mamas behind. By virtue of still running, John Nesbitt was in a podium position and just needed to get to the finish. The crews headed back to the Kajiado service point for the only service of the day. The top cars were put into a bunching control before they had to allow the rest of the rally to catch up. So there was plenty of time to relax and get ready for the last two stages.
There's a good time difference between us and the second car, so obviously it's just to keep it easy. We're not into getting the stage times now. We're not fighting with anyone, so just a matter of bringing the car home clean, one piece, and gather as many points as we can.
We lost a lot of time. I think we've limped about 25 k's or something. The rear shocks punched through the body, so the car was obviously not staying on the road, and I was being careful not to break more things because that was working.
There might only be 2 short stages left, but after the long 84-kilometer stage, there was plenty of damage for the mechanics to repair if they wanted the cars to get to the finish.
We were worried that there were only 10 seconds between Frank and I, so I was worried the old man was going to get us through that.
Started okay, nearly a casualty for me. My navigator was amazing, and I was half asleep. Fine, we got through it.
As the crews headed back to Isinya for a repeat of the previous day's stages, Baldev Chaga was aware of the need to make it to finish to win. He was expected to drive slowly, but set the fastest time by 16 seconds on the run down to Konza. Quinton Mitchell decided to push and put Azhar Anwar under pressure. He took back 28 seconds on the short stage, but would need more than a minute per stage to take second. Azhar Anwar had repaired the suspension and exhaust and was relieved to still be in second overall. He was nursing the car home, not taking any risks. Frank Tundo was settled in fourth with nothing to gain. By pushing and a comfortable margin behind, he drove steadily and set the 9th fastest time. Barry lost time when the throttle butterfly screws came loose and the throttle kept sticking open. Over revving the engine, he was forced to stop and try and fix it at the end of the stage. John Nganga had a difficult rally but was finally up to speed and set the joint 7th fastest time with Asad Anwar. He would eventually finish 18th. Asad Anwar fought back on the closing stages, moving back up to 15. He would eventually finish 11th overall. Justmeet Chana lost time with a puncture but held on to the 9th overall after Onkarai crashed out. Onkarai had been pushing hard, hoping to catch Rajbir. He went into a corner too fast and lost control. The car rolled going end over end and was virtually unrecognizable. Anwar Pandya moved into 10th overall with Rai's retirement and was looking for another excellent result. It had been a mixed event for the N16 driver, but a top 10 finish will be fantastic. Don Smith had driven steadily to move up to 11th as those in front retired. His times were slow but consistent. On the final stage of the rally, the crews headed back to Andy's Corner, where huge crowds had gathered at the spectator stage to watch the action over the last jumps of the rally. Baldev Chaga backed off on the jumps but was still fastest on the stage. It had been a masterful display leading from the second stage to the end. He had driven cleanly and deserved his first Safari win.
The Safari is always magical to win. We've tried to get this for many years. Been leading a couple of times and then always ended up having a problem. Last year retired lying third. This year I think straight away from stage one we were leading all the way to the end. So I think that's the best way to win the Safari from start to end.
Azhar Anwar went third fastest. Once again, he had driven consistently and been rewarded with an excellent second overall.
It's fantastic to feel that I have not lost it, because I was feeling very depressed after the last rally that can't I drive anymore? What happened? How did I roll? And as you can see, I brought back a clean car, and that means I haven't forgotten how to drive. I can still drive.
Quinton Mitchell went second fastest, but it wasn't enough to overtake his Oil Libya teammate. 3 was repeat of the previous year and a good comeback after dropping time the previous day.
We had a really good run, and 2 years running we've taken the 3rd spot on the podium now in the Safari, so we're happy.
Frank Tundo kept the family flag flying after Carl retired and brought the Evo 9 home in well-deserved 4th overall. Manveer Bariana attacked in a bid to catch Fahad Bari, and aware that Bari was having trouble, he climbed up to 5th overall. Rajbir Rai has been a revelation in the Evo 10. Driving fast but steadily, he had brought the car home in 6th overall. Mohamed Issa had been as low as 26th during the rally but had fought back to 7th, and with it, the Africa Rally Championship win. It was a great result and well deserved after the hard work to get the car ready after his accident in Tanzania.
We've had a long rally, long day, broke enough parts, but finally we're here. I mean, we're going back home with 25 points, and it keeps us in contention for our African Championship. Let's see what happens in Uganda next.
Jas Mangat had struggled throughout but brought the Evo 10 home to finish 2nd in the ARC category. He now leads the championship as he heads to home soil for the Ugandan round, the Pearl of Africa Rally in August. Jasmeet Chana had played the waiting game, treating the event as an endurance rally. It had paid off and he came home in 8th overall. Tejveer Rai had also fought back after dropping back midway through the event to finish a commendable 9th overall. Don Smith rounded out the top 10 in his N16, another trouble-free run, and was rewarded with a good result. Asad Anwar climbed another 3 places to finish 11th on his return to rallying. We hope to see more of him on the remaining rounds. Jaswinder Chana might not have had a good season, but he made up for it by winning the SSPV class on the Safari Rally. The extra points means he leapfrogs back into the championship lead, level with Alasdair Keith. Keith had driven a brilliant rally and was rewarded with valuable championship points to share the title lead with 3 rounds to go. He had been quickest on 8 of the rally stages and would have been comfortably inside the top 10 had he not lost time in service the previous day. Just Zubie finished his first ever Safari on the podium. He is unlikely to compete on other KNRC rounds, focusing instead on the cross-country rally championship. Aslam Khan rounded out the top 20 and took the classic class win in his Porsche 911. After missing 2 rounds, he would also benefit from the extra points, climbing back up to 2nd in the title race. Malcolm Destro had shown real pace in the 260Z and was rewarded with 2nd overall. The Datsun was performing well as they prepared for the East African Safari in November. Hardev Singh Sira took the final podium position and valuable championship points to maintain his grip on the title race. Dennis Mwenda flew to victory on the final stage. He had led throughout and was a deserved winner, moving into a commanding lead in the championship. Joan Nesbitt was the only other F2 finisher, giving her her first podium. The Haraka Mamas finished last, but they finished where others had failed. As the crews returned back to the KICC for the ceremonial finish, there was much to reflect on. It had been a very tough event and finishing was a reward in itself. Baldev Chagar was happy to entertain the crowds with a victory donut. The end of another grueling safari and champagne celebration for the three podium finishers. A fantastic victory for Baldev Chagar and well-deserved podium for Azhar Anwar and Quinton Mitchell. Chagar now has a commanding 140-point lead in the championship with 3 rounds to go. With Duncan and Tundo failing to finish, Azhar Anwar moves into third with only 20 points separating second to fourth. Chathe drops back behind Mitchell and Frank Tundo. In the SSPV class, Chana and Keith now head the table. With all their main rivals failing to score points, they have pulled clear. Chana's title defense is back on track with 3 rounds to go. Dennis Mwenda now holds a deserved and commanding lead after a clean drive that saw him lead from start to finish. None of his title challenges finished. John Nesbitt took her largest points haul to move up the table. Aslam Khan trailed Bell for speed but took the win in the end after Bell crashed. It moves him back up to second in the championship, but another good finish for Sira gives him a big lead in the title race. The crews now have a 6-week break and chance to rebuild after the damage done on the Safari Rally. The next round takes the crews to the shores of Lake Victoria for the Kisumu Rally in the far west of Kenya. It's another beautiful part of Kenya that will offer a very different challenge to the drivers as they race through the sugarcane fields and hills that look down on the largest freshwater lake in Africa. We'll see you there.